As you know, that we have been calling on the statue, the Confederate statue that is in downtown. We've been asking for that thing to be removed for the last 2 years. And I think that what we saw in Charleston with the mayor saying that he's ready to have one removed, we want to bring that cry back up. We want to let this mayor know, and actually this state know, that that Heritage Act needs to be abolished, eliminated. But we definitely want to talk. We definitely want to talk to this mayor. Hey, yo.
You also want to talk
We want to talk to this mayor about this particular statue, because that statue needs to be removed. It is a race symbol, and it's very racist. It needs to go. Right now, it's the prime time, and we're going to use this day to call for it to be removed.
And this isn't the first time you kind of touched on this a little bit, but you were asking for this back in 2017. So what was the response then? I mean, it's obviously still up.
Well, I got the response about the Heritage Act. And they keep telling me because of that act, it cannot be removed, renamed, defaced, anything. But we know that Clemson was able to do it, and they asked for an exemption. We know that the mayor down in Charleston is ready to do it. So we're ready. And I think there are some legislators that are willing to get behind either changing the Heritage Act or giving an exemption to have these types of racist symbols removed. And so we're going to be pushing for that.
Right. I mean, do you all think that it should be necessary to have a vote on this from the state? Or do you feel like it should be something that the city should have the power to do if, it's activists who live here like y'all are asking for it to be done?
Yeah, I think cities should have the authority to remove statues, to install statues as they so please, especially when you talk about mayors and city councils and county councils. We've talked to several legislators who are in agreement with us, both Republican and Democrat, who now agree, who didn't in 2017, but now agree that it's time to at least revisit the Heritage Act and see what can happen. So we know Senator Allen from Greenville. I spoke to him this morning. He's going to introduce a bill very soon to have those statues removed, at least here in Greenville. Also, we're going to ask to have a park named after Martin Luther King here in Greenville, a city park. So we're asking for that because we know a lot of cities have parks named after MLK. In Greenville, we don't have one. And so we're going to ask that Greenville name a park after Martin Luther King Jr.
And we're not going to just stop on asking that. One of the big things we're going to ask for on this day, this Juneteenth, we're going to ask that this council, Greenville City Council, with this mayor, enact and make sure that Black Lives Matter Month be established for June. That's what we want. We want June to be established as Black Lives Matter Month. A little different than Black History Month. A lot different, because then we're talking about the history. We want to talk about what it takes for black men and women to survive in today's culture, the way things are set up. So we're going to be asking that June be announced as Black Lives Matter Month. And we also want it to be painted out there on the street, but we'll get to that later.
As far as, can you guys just describe to me a little bit about when you drive by Confederate statues like the one that is here on Main Street? I mean, for most people who frequent Main Street, they might not see it. They might not go down as far as the cemetery there. But when you drive by it, when you see it, when you know that it's there, what kind of feelings come up knowing that is here?
The first time I saw the statue, when I rode past it, I literally got out of my car and went to look at it, and I read the wording around it, and I couldn't figure out why it was even here in Greenville, and not just the one in Greenville, all over the state. I can't. The history that's attached to it, it doesn't make sense to me as to why it would be something that's preserved in a city that's moving forward, that's talking about inclusion, that talks about equity, that talks about access. And so if we want to be a city that talks about inclusion for all, we got to talk about removing those statues immediately, not waiting on the Heritage Act. We know that the chairman of the Democratic caucus, Todd Rutherford, has given cities permission to go ahead and remove statues and face the lawsuit. And he said the state will be on their side. So I think cities and counties now have the green light. It's just a matter of, are they willing to go remove those statues and face the consequences of the backlash, if any. But we're going to ask not only for the statues, not only for MLK, we also want Wade Hampton High School to be renamed. So we have a long list of things we're going to be asking for because it's long overdue.
I'm a little bit older than Derrick, but I can remember. I can remember when this particular statue was in the middle of Main Street years ago, and it got moved, and it got tucked away, and it came back, and now it's over here. I remember growing up looking at this, not understanding what it really meant. Now looking at it, I know that my children will be looking at it. If it remains, it's painful. It is painful because the ideology behind that statue is what allowed George Floyd to be murdered, and a whole host of other individuals. We need to start eliminating these racist symbols. It's not heritage, it's racism. We need to eliminate it. So that's what we're going to be asking, that statue be removed.
You touched on this a little bit, but you mentioned that, there is this Heritage Act, but also, someone could decide just to take it down and say, I don't care about that act. It doesn't deserve to be up. I'm going to take it down and I'm going to face the consequences.
Right.
So do we know what those consequences are specifically?
I mean, what are they? We know that, especially in Dr. King era, that there was laws on the books. A black man couldn't marry a white woman. It was against the law. Somebody had to challenge that and defeat it. I believe that this act, this Heritage Act, I think is unconstitutional. Plain and simple. So somebody needs to violate it. Somebody needs to go around it, go through it. But it needs to be changed. And we need to get rid of it. We don't even need that act. Let's get rid of it. So it's one of those laws that I believe is unconstitutional. Somebody needs to challenge it. I hope Green was willing to step up to the bat and do it. That's what we're hoping for.
Would you implore City Council to vote to disregard the Heritage Act and take it down?
Either that, or I would just ask the mayor to issue an executive order and have it removed. I mean, I think he has the power to do that. And so we're going to ask the mayor to go over, not even deal with council, just have it removed.
Okay. All right. Any questions, Carrie, on the statute?
Can't hear a lot back here.
Yeah. I think our sound will actually be okay.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything that we missed about the statute specifically?
Yeah.
That you all wanted to add?
We want it removed. There's no other debate about this. I think it's time. I think everybody's ready. I think the legislative is ready. Let's do it. Let's not talk about it and keep talking about it. Let's do it. Let's remove this Confederate statue from downtown Greenville. We're this beacon of tourism. And everybody comes here and we talk about the Freedom Bridge and all of that, and Falls Park. Let's get rid of this racist symbol in downtown Greenville.
Right now, there's definitely a momentum across the country, especially here locally. We're seeing some things, maybe not as quickly as we'd like them to change, but we are seeing some movement on that. Do you think that now, more than ever, it's kind of a no-brainer, but do you think that now more than ever it's important to keep pushing issues on a very local level?
If we do not get changed during this moment in time, when everybody is awoken, when this nation, the conscience of this nation has been awoken, if we lose this, we'll never have another opportunity like that. And we definitely don't want to see another death like we saw with Mr. George, or what we saw down in Atlanta. So we don't want it to be that we have to have another death to get back to this moment. So let's take this moment, let's seize on it, and let's make meaningful change. It is time. I think the country is ready. Let's do it.
Is that kind of also a reason why to do it on Juneteenth and make this, even bigger statement?
Absolutely. Juneteenth is a day of freedom for black people. And so we want to continue to celebrate our freedom. We want to continue to push the momentum. We want to continue to advocate for the issues that are important to black people so that we can really experience what it means to be free in America.
Because you're only free in America as a black man. You're only free, you're free until you start acting free.
That's it.
And that's what the problem is. And that's what we need to stop. See, Mr. George, he was free until he started acting free. Breonna Taylor was free until she started acting free. Mr. Rice, that little kid, he was free until he started acting free. Trayvon Martin was free until he started acting free. Eric Garner was free until he started acting free. So we need to make sure that we stand up and say, we are free.
Tomorrow, the Black Lives Matter mural goes on the streets of Spartanburg. Are you looking ahead at Greenville to try and get anything like that here?
Yes, we actually asked the mayor about 2 weeks ago if we could have Black Lives Matter painted on the streets of Main Street. We've yet to hear back. We have heard that he's in favor of it, and so we're hopeful that it will happen very soon.
We hope media ask him, when is he going to do it? Yeah. We make the request. When? We'll come out and help paint.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have people ready and waiting to paint it.
Chip in on the price of the paint. Whatever we need to do, let's do it.